law session, and I'd like to go ahead and get started so that we can have enough time to cover what we want to cover and answer questions that you may have. My name is Tracey Broadhead-Frith, and I'm the National Director of the Law School Program for Bloomberg Law. Our parent company is Bloomberg DNA. Our product is Bloomberg Law. There's been a little confusion of that in the market. This is the Bloomberg Law product. Within it integrates all the BNA content that so many of you have been so familiar with, and hopefully you've found Bloomberg Law to also be a very helpful tool in your schools. We see ourselves as partners to the law school community as well as to your students. And we understand that there are a lot of challenges that are being faced by this community right now with diminishing applications, with pressured admission standards, shrinking budgets, just all kinds of problems in employment and underemployment with students. And one of the biggest challenges that we're hearing from you, our customers, is that law schools are being asked and tasked with creating practice-ready students, right? Blending the theory of law and practical education together. And so I've been going around the country listening and learning from a lot of professors, a lot of librarians. I went to the clinical education conference in Rancho Mirage just recently that AALS hosted, and heard a lot about experiential learning and how we're trying to bring that into classrooms. And not just in clinics and corporate labs, but directly in the classrooms. Our take on that from Bloomberg Law is that this is a product that brings together technology, that brings together workflow, that brings together analytics, all in a business intelligence solution. And basically, this is not just a legal research platform. There's so much technology that Bloomberg has embedded within Bloomberg Law, the legal research intelligence platform, that it's a tool that really will help in this mission of helping to get students more practice ready by using tools that practitioners are actually using. This product, as you see it, as you have access to it in law school, is the exact same product that practitioners have access to. So when your students graduate and go to a law firm, they will see the exact same product, not a sliced, diced version of this. Okay? By providing all of these kind of fundamentals, so all the cases, the statutes, all the fundamentals, with the cutting-edge technology and the news materials that are world-renowned, the unparalleled financial information, the 80 years of high-valued BNA content, this is what is bringing together all of that information into Bloomberg Law. The scope, speed, and uniqueness of what we've created here is something that is really helping to empower students to differentiate themselves. And Michael Calder, who is one of my colleagues here today, he's actually one of our law school relationship managers. If anyone's from Texas, Charlie, I see you here. You will recognize his face. He's actually going to walk you through some of the tools on Bloomberg Law that really highlight the technology that we've integrated into Bloomberg Law. So with that, turn it over to Michael.
Thank you, Tracy, and good morning, everybody. I do see some familiar faces, some who I've known in the past, like Charlie, others who I met here, and others I haven't met yet, and I hope you'll stop by the booth. Just to give you a quick background of who I am, I started out in life after college as an Army officer stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, but I'm from New York. I went to law school. I practiced in state and federal court in New York City for many years. About 5 years ago, Bloomberg called. I was an insurance law guy, and they needed an insurance law expert, and so I did that. And then when we had the merger, they took all of us editorial people and said, you got to move to Virginia. And I didn't want to move to Virginia, and I dyed my hair and said I hadn't met Tracy yet, so I dyed my hair, and I said, I'm a law school guy. So I said, Tracy, please let me move to Texas.
And I said, don't dye your hair.
So they gave me everything I wanted. I wanted to move to Texas and work with law students, and it's the best job I've ever had, and I really love it. So get rid of this. So Bloomberg Law, students, many of you already have seen the demos and are trained on it. For those of you who have not, your students will have access to Bloomberg Law throughout their law school career, including completely unrestricted access over the summer, so they can use it at the law firms. That helps them get practice ready because they can use it in a real world environment, and that's important to know. They're also going to have access to it for 6 months after they graduate. So again, once they graduate, they go to work for a firm, they're going to be able to use it there in a real world environment. And we give them 6 months because we know the first 3 months after they graduate, they're not going to use it at all, right? They're going to study for the bar, take the bar, and then go to Tahiti for a month. And then when they come back in September, right after Labor Day, it's when the first year associates are going to the firms, they're still going to have access. So students can learn to be practice ready in law school. And so today I'm going to introduce you to, well, it may not be an introduction to many of you, but I'm just going to show you how students can be practice ready using a couple of tools. Number one, I'm going to start with dockets. We've made some recent enhancement to dockets. I think dockets are really key to learning how to be practice ready. I'm going to talk about our people and company profiles briefly and tie that into dockets and show you how I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to show you something really, really cool that we just came out with 2 weeks ago. And if you stop by the booth, I may have shown it to you. It's called Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions, and it really is going to revolutionize the way lawyers, transactional lawyers, do business. And we've got this great technology. Like I said, it's only 2 weeks old, but we've already gotten rave reviews. If you Google Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions, you'll see articles from inside counsel, from above the law, and I can't stress enough. These are like really great reviews. And somebody mentioned to me earlier, really, above the law gave you a good review? That's amazing in itself. So let's go ahead and get started. So Bloomberg Law dockets. You can get to everything you need to do in law school right here in the Getting Started container. If I go ahead and pull up a docket search page, just a reminder that, and I'll clear this out, that students have full access to federal dockets, including the docket sheet and underlying filings, along with dockets in states that have electronic filing. Okay? If you ever want to see what dockets we have, you can go to the Litigation and Dockets tab and click on Docket Coverage. It brings up the nice colored map, which I love because I can never remember what state is in which federal circuit. This map is very helpful. And you can click on a state to see what the docket coverage is for that particular state. But students can, and practitioners, can use our docket search, which pulls directly from PACER on the federal dockets, to do comprehensive intuitive searching by court, by keyword searching. If they know the docket number, they can search by docket number. You can search for by judge, by case name, by attorney or law firm. Now this is a great tool for a student who's going to be interviewing. And he's going to be interviewing at Latham Watkins or Baker Botts or some firm. Doesn't even have to be an AmLaw 100 firm. If it's a firm that does litigation, a federal court or a state court, they can search by attorney or firm. So before that interview, encourage them to log on and find cases that that firm is litigating so that they can prepare themselves and understand what kind of litigation the firm does. So not only can they use those fields, but for federal dockets, for example, Oklahoma, if I start typing in Oklahoma, I don't have to use the browse feature where I do the source tree. I can start typing in a name and I can select a court. So for example, all Oklahoma U.S. district courts, if I'm searching across the federal courts, I now have the option of searching by nature of suit, or patent number, or ticker symbol, if I want to find a company that's in litigation. So the nature of suit is another great way for students to learn to be practice ready. If you think you're going to be an IP attorney, look through dockets for IP litigation. We pull the nature of suit codes directly from the civil cover sheets that are filed when the plaintiffs file in court. So by mastering dockets in law school, students will learn to gain an edge over their adversaries when they're litigating. Because if your adversary files a brief, you can go into Bloomberg Law dockets, pull briefs that that firm has used before, or pull similar cases. It doesn't even have to be the firm you're litigating against, but you can use dockets to find where those arguments were made previously, find out how other attorneys have responded to those arguments in their oppositions, and then you can even click to the links to see how the court ruled. So, you know, I tell students, just because it's filed in the docket system doesn't mean it's a good brief. I know from my personal experience, and as you probably do too, there's a lot of really bad briefs that are filed. So just because it's there doesn't mean it's a good brief. Prior to appearing before a judge, you can pull up all the cases that the judge has ruled on in that area of law. So you can get an idea of how the judge is going to rule. If you're going to be interviewing for a clerkship, students can use dockets to pull up those cases. New lawyers can pull up briefs that their own firm, that their assigning attorney have filed in the past, so they can get insight on what that attorney likes to say in their briefs. So let's go ahead and look at a typical docket. And I pulled up Oklahoma, and so wanted to pull up something that would be timely and interesting. So I looked up fracking, because they got a problem with earthquakes in Oklahoma, and the oil industry swears it's not related to fracking. But I pulled up fracking in Oklahoma, and there's a lot of cases where the word fracking is used, and fracking is, it's one of those, it's not the proper term, but it is used quite a bit. So we can pull up a case, for example, Reese versus AES Corporation is a fracking case. And again, on Bloomberg Law, you're going to get the face of the docket. If you're a practicing attorney, you get to see the face of the docket at no charge. If you do that same search on Pacer, you're paying to see the face of the docket. Okay? The other thing is, on Bloomberg Law, I can search across more than one jurisdiction at a time. You can't do that on Pacer. So we give you the ability to search across multiple jurisdictions. You get the face of the docket for free. Okay? So at the top, it looks just like on Pacer. At the top, you see the parties and attorneys. And then if you click on docket entries, you can see the docket entries. If you see a number, with just a number, that's the court's docket number. If you see BL and then the number, that means that the court does not use a numbering system, so we assign the numbers. So I'll say BL2 means the court doesn't assign numbers. It used to be that we had two sets of numbers, and it was confusing, and if it was green, it means we didn't have it. If it was blue, it meant we had it. We changed that to make it easier, and this is a recent change. Now it says request if we don't have it. It says view if we do have it. And so remember, I looked at fracking. If I click on the next keyword, it will take me right to where fracking appears. And it's highlighted on the view, which means that the term fracking appears in that document, and it says view because we have that document. And if I click view, it's going to pull up the actual filing. If there's a document that we want, but we don't yet have, it says request. And so I want to scroll down to entry 365, which is a motion to dismiss the case for failure to state a claim. So if I want to get that document, all I have to do is click request. And I'm going to see a pop-up window appear. It says collection fee waived. It's a little confusing because the next line says we can get this for a fee. But as long as you see waived, that means that there's no fee and you can ignore the rest of it. So you click accept and you close this out. And within a few seconds, we should see a pop-up window that appears that says either we've obtained it for you or that the document is not available electronically. We'd have to send a courier. It's not in your plane. We can't get it for you. And in this case, you see how quickly we were able to obtain it for you. Entry 365 has now been obtained. Now I can either click on entry 365, the entry will appear, or if I click refresh, you'll see now that 365, and if I scroll down to it, 365 will include, it'll now say view. Sorry, scrolling around a lot. Now it says view. So now we can view that document. Okay. The other nice thing about Bloomberg Law is that now we've got that document. Practicing attorneys who want to see that document don't have to pay for it. Okay. If you are a commercial user and you click request where it says request, you're going to pay a pass-through fee. Bloomberg Law only charges a pass-through fee. You don't add anything on. So it's the same price as doing it on Pacer. But once we've got it, every other user gets it for free. So that's another nice feature. So we encourage law students to pull up as many as they want. It makes it less expensive for our commercial users. Any questions about dockets and the new features we just added? So if not, the next thing I wanted to do is talk about our company and people profiles. And on Bloomberg Law, in the upper right-hand corner, you see find cases, news, companies, people, and more in the white box, the green button that says go. We call that the go bar. I love telling students that it's better than Google, but I know they're going to go to Google. But it's really better than Google because we allow you to search across specific databases. There's a lot of noise on Google. If I Google Roe, R-O-E, you're going to get return on equity and fish eggs and Congressman Phil Roe. You'll get Roe v. Wade, but it's going to be way down on the list. So the go bar helps eliminate that noise. And if I'm looking for a company, I can find companies. We've got every single publicly traded company in the world. You can look them up by ticker symbol or by name. More than 2 million privately held corporations. We got profile pages for them. You can look them up in there. And more than 3 million people. So I want to show you what that looks like. So for example, in Texas, I'm from the Dallas area now. All of my schools are all interested in oil and gas law. So I like to show Exxon. And the reason I like to show Exxon is I start typing in the go bar, I don't hit the enter key, and you get all these things that appear. I'm going to click on Exxon. I like to show Exxon because it's a great example of why students need to come to Bloomberg Law to prepare for their interview. Because if you're going to go out on an interview for a general counsel position at Exxon, and you don't come here first, you're going to study up on oil and gas drilling rights, and leasing rights, and all kinds of things that have to do with what you think about is the oil and gas industry. But what you're not going to know is that 92% of ExxonMobil's federal litigation is asbestos related. And if you don't come here first, you're not going to know that. You're not going to know anything about asbestos going into that interview. You're not really going to be prepared. So I like to show this to students. We keep track of every case that a company is either a plaintiff, defendant, respondent, any type of party. We keep track of it here. And the numbers next to the years indicate the number of cases that were filed in that year, and those are links directly to the dockets. So they can use this any number of ways. They can use it for research before an interview. Maybe they're a summer associate at the firm. Maybe they're a new lawyer and they are litigating against Exxon or for Exxon, and maybe it's an asbestos case. You can click directly into the dockets for those cases and you can see the arguments that Exxon has made in asbestos cases. So I can click directly into the dockets for all those asbestos cases, or employment cases, or real property cases, or whatever. Again, these come from the civil trial cover sheets. And so this is really a powerful tool for an attorney. And if you're an attorney that is interested in business development, maybe you're getting some of Exxon's casework, but you're not getting all of it. You want to know who else is getting it. You can use this to find out who your competition is. So it's a very powerful tool, and we like to show it to students. And we encourage students to show it to the partners that the firms are going to be working at, because we know when they see it, they're going to really love it. So you've got a company profile page, links to more than 50,000 news sources with up-to-the-minute news. And let me show you how up-to-the-minute this is. Here it is. It's June 19th, and this story came out at 12:07, and it's, what time is it now? It's not even 11 o'clock, or it's right after 11. So, or right after 10?
It's 11.
I'm so lost. I'm in Texas time on my watch.
It's not even 11.
But it's not 12 o'clock yet, right? So are we that good? And I like to show this to students in Texas, and the answer is no, because this is New York time. So this is, all the news timestamps are New York. So that little joke doesn't go over too well for the guys on the East Coast, but I get to use it in Texas. So you've got all this information that comes from the Bloomberg terminal. So we took all that technology in the Bloomberg terminal and we moved it into Bloomberg Law, so students have access to all this great company and market information. And they can also use it to find people. And I like to show Rex Tillerson. Rex Tillerson is the CEO of ExxonMobil, and the reason I like to show Rex is because we have a lot of information on him. He's a big public figure. We've got partners at big law firms, CEOs, judges, anybody of note. There's more than 3 million people you can find. And so here's Rex Tillerson, again, with up-to-the-minute news. This story just came out about Rex. And I like to show it also because it's got his compensation. And you can look at his compensation by year. So Rex makes $28 million a year, which goes a long way in the Dallas area. He lives in Irvine, which is a suburb of Dallas. So we've got all this great information, including where they went to school. And where they went to school is important, because we then take that information, and then you can do a search. If you go back to the home page, you can do a people search. And you can do a people search by the school that they went to. Love talking to students about this. If you want networking opportunities, put in the name of your school where you went. So if I'm interested in STERM, I can look up all the graduates from STERM who have public profiles on Bloomberg Law. And if I click search, you can see we try to put these in prominence order, but you can see some of the types of people that we have. Again, partners at firms, CEOs, there's judges in here. This is just another great resource for students to become practice ready by getting that first job and helping to network. For our lawyers, for our federal lawyer, for our federal court judges, you can look up Simeon Lake, for example. And I know Charlie knows who Simeon Lake is. He is the chief judge for the Southern District of Texas. Oh, San Antonio's in the Western District, isn't it? San Antonio's in the Western District. So if you look at the map of Texas, it makes no sense as to who's in what district. I'm actually north of Dallas, but I'm in the Eastern District. And Dallas is in the Northern District, which doesn't make sense to me. The map is it looks like a gerrymandered map. So on our federal judge profiles, you've got, again, the same type of information, but also the court cases. So encourage your students, before they apply for clerkship, to look here. When I was at St. Mary's the last time, they've got one of their adjunct professors is a federal bankruptcy judge, Craig Gargata. And I asked Judge Gargata, how many students applying for your clerkships have actually read your cases before the interview? And he said you'd be shocked at how few. So I encourage students, don't be that person that's not going to get the job because you didn't take the time to look the judge's information up on Bloomberg Law. So that's what I wanted to show you, how students can succeed getting an interview, networking. The next thing I wanted to show you, and the last thing I wanted to show you, is really the newest thing we've got. It came out a couple of weeks ago. It's been in development for a long time, and you're really going to love it. It's called Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions. It searches through millions of documents. It compares agreements and clauses to yield market standard language. And what this does is it's going to revolutionize the way transaction lawyers do business. Because before this, you'd go into a negotiation with somebody on a contract, and the other side is going to tell you, this is standard language, we use it all the time. And you're going to be able to say, no you don't, because we know what you do. And we know what market standard language is because we've got Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions. Let me show you how it works. You've got this draft analyzer, it's in the Getting Started box. And what you can do is you can drop your own text right into the box here. Now you can use your own contract that the firm is using, and I'll also show you how you can use DealMaker documents. So I already copied, I'm just going to paste now. This is a contract that I just pasted in here. When you click Analyze, we're going to compare this language that I just created. Maybe it's from my firm's bank of documents, and we're going to compare it to every attachment, every exhibit in the Edgar database. So we will be able to tell you in an instant whether the language that I'm using is market standard or not. And so, for example, I can click on this paragraph right here. I click on the red line, and I'm going to get a red line version, taking my language and showing you what should be added if you want to make it market standard with the underlining, and what should be taken out with the strike-throughs. This is revolutionary. It puts everybody on a level playing field now. And it's going to save time in negotiations. You're not going to have to go back and forth as many times because you're going to know what market standard language is. We give you 10 templates. The templates are going to show you, the first template is going to be market standard, but then you're going to see other versions as well, and you're going to be able to see who's using it and how often they use it. And you're going to be able to also see, if you click on the sources, when they used it. And you're going to be able to use the filters on the left side to show when they used it. Is this language something that people aren't using anymore because they did it in 1999, but they're not using it in the last 5 or 6 years? And you're going to be able to filter by firm as well. So if you're going into a negotiation with Cooley or Jones Day, and they tell you that they use this language all the time, you can find everything that they've done, and you can say, no, you don't. Here's what you've done in the past. Let's go ahead and skip all the BS, and let's just get right down to coming to an agreement. So this is really going to revolutionize the way transactional lawyers do business. And let me show you another way to find it. So you can get to the draft analyzer here, but we packaged the draft analyzer with some other tools as well, because we spent a lot of time at AmLaw 100 firms, and we talked to the transaction attorneys to find out exactly how they do business. And we found out that they do 3 things. They're either drafting, or they're researching, or they're staying current. And so we put that together in a really cool package called Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions. And there's a couple of ways to get to it. I like to get to it from the Practice Center of Corporate and M&A. And the reason I like to get to it this way is because I can also point out the in-practice corporate governance. I'm not going to cover it now, but I encourage you to look at in-practice corporate governance. It's got a ton of great tools for corporate lawyers. Is that my time is up? No. Okay. So here it is on the right side. You see this orange link, looking for Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions. You can also get to it from Transactional Law in the Transactional Resources tab, but I like to get to it from the Practice Center Corporate and M&A. And you click on Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions, and what you'll see here is that you can get to it, you can draft, and I apologize, it's just because of the VGA plugin that it kind of compresses the screen, so you have to scroll back and forth, but on your computers, if you're following along, it probably is not doing that. But you've got access to Dealmaker documents under draft. Dealmaker documents where we've got 800,000 great examples of documents that are pulled from Edgar filings. Hundreds of types of agreements that you can analyze. And then the draft analyzer and in-practice corporate suites. Also, there's a research tab where you can go directly to Edgar, deal analytics, where we get into the nitty-gritty. You can search for M&A deals. That's really advanced stuff. I don't show that to law students because that's really, really advanced stuff. But that's what the firms are using. So if they're working at a firm over the summer that's doing some of that, they may be using those tools. The portfolios and treatises. And then finally, if I scrolled over, you'll see current awareness. So really quickly, I also wanted to show you that you can use Dealmaker documents for the draft analyzer. And so I took the time earlier to search for leases, retail department, retail grocery store. Let's say I'm working on a small deal in one of your transactional clinics at your school. I know that the transactional clinics are not working on mega million-dollar mergers. They're working on small deals. Maybe they're helping a local business struggling to get started to sign a lease at a local grocery store. So that's why I pulled this one. I wanted to show you that we've got sample documents that your students can use today, not just the big deals. So if you click search for grocery store commercial leases, you can see there's a lot of them here. If I pull up, for example, this shopping center lease, this is an actual lease that was filed with Edgar that we've pulled it. We can run the draft analyzer on the documents we pull from Dealmaker. Okay, and maybe I'm interested in the insurance requirements for the lease. I think on this one it's number 17. I'll scroll down to number 17 to the indemnification and insurance. I can then click on a red line version, and you can see from the Dealmaker documents, market standard language, and again, you got those same templates and sources. So this is a revolutionary tool. It's about 2 weeks old. We're getting rave reviews, and this is one of the things that we want to bring to your transactional clinics at your schools to show students, because they'll be able to use this in law school and become practice ready. Anybody have any questions about anything that I've covered? I don't know if I've gone over my time because I haven't really been keeping track well, but it is 12. We'll actually we're good till 12:30, right? So maybe we'll get you out of here early.
It's actually 11, right?
I'm sorry?
It's 11.
Oh, it's 11?
Yeah.
Texas time.
12
Texas.
Texas.
But Texas, I didn't even change my still says next time, so it's 11. I'm lost. Yes, ma'am.
So the Bloomberg Law corporate transactions thing, I noticed that it took us to a new window, and so are you just kind of marketing that separately to law firms where they could buy a subscription like just to that? Is that why that happens?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's some baby Bloomberg Law products, if you will. So there's Bloomberg Law, the full flagship product. And then there's these little products. So typically what we're seeing in the commercial market is law firms that don't have Bloomberg Law but have a really heavy corporate transactional practice are interested in this. And then there's all of this functionality is built into Bloomberg Law. It's just the technology of CT is what we call it. Corporate transaction is available on the separate site. That is something that we will continue to build, these individual baby Bloomberg Law kind of products. But again, all of the functionality that's available on that product is available in Bloomberg Law, but you as a Bloomberg Law customer will always have access to the technology of those baby products.
Any other questions? Thank you all so much. Enjoyed seeing you here. Please stop by and say hello if you haven't done so already. Thank you.